who we were being compared to. And these, if you don't know, these are countries far, far away from us, who constantly deal with dry temperatures and droughts. So it was a little scary. But I felt like I needed something a little bit deeper. So I wanted to figure out, what don't we really know about droughts? We understand that it's hot. You know, our AC bill might go up because we have to crank up the temperature. You know, I just wanted to understand and really figure out, how does this affect me? Well, in what ways do we use water? And lots and lots of ways we use water. And as you're looking at this, you're like, I don't farm, I don't own a steaming company, and I don't irrigate, and I don't ski. But there's something you should really think about. I have a question for the audience. Just raise your hand if you feel like this is going to be true. How many people think that on average we use 1 gallon of water a day? Oh, you had to put your hand up. No, how many people think we use 5? 10? Okay. 15? 20? 25? 30? 35? 40? Okay. Well, actually, people, we use an average of 60 gallons of water a day. I almost ran out of space on this PowerPoint trying to put all this up there. 60 gallons of water a day. And you're like, well, I don't use 60 gallons of water. What could I be using that on? Well, here's a chart. 35%, which is about 21 gallons, comes from your lawn, garden, flower beds, just, basic stuff like that. You actually use that water pretty fast. 26% comes from your toilet. You have to use the bathroom, you flush it a lot. 23% is the rest of the bathroom. I honestly thought that toilet and the rest of the bathroom should be equal, but we won't go there. 9% was from laundry, of course, when you wash your clothes. 5% from the kitchen and 2% from cleaning. So after looking at that, I was like, well, I don't really, water my grass too much, but I can understand the rest of it. But when I went to, I said, well, if we use 60 gallons of water per day, like an average person, well, how big are the dams? Like, how much water do we have? And if you look, it's kind of small from the back, but here is Lake Travis, and then here's Lake Buchanan. Those are kind of our two water supplies. Up here is Barton Creek, which people are more familiar with, and those were the lake levels for the day. As you can see, they're less than half full. And I had a question. I said, well, they look huge. They look like they can sustain life if the water keeps going. And I said, well, how much can the lakes hold? So I have a question for the audience. How much water do you think the two lakes can hold together? just say a number.
60 gallons a day.
I think we'd be extinct by now.
like 500,000 gallons.
500,000 gallons, okay. Well, you are wrong, my friend. When they are full, they hold nearly 2.3 million acre-feet of water. And you're like, what the heck is an acre-foot of water? Well, 1 acre-foot is about 326,000 gallons of water, which you're kind of close to. Yeah. So let's do a little math here. I said 60 gallons a day per person, times our population, just within Austin city limits. This does not include Pflugerville, Round Rock. This is just Austin city limits, so that number will possibly double. You get about 47 million gallons a day. It's a lot of water. You can't even picture that, can you? It's a lot of water. That's 144.73 acre feet. Remember, it can hold 2.3 million. But when I went further into this math, I actually divided that by the number of years that we could live off of that, and it only came out to 200 when it was half full. So just think 200 years from now, if we were in a consistent drought, well, nobody would be happy. No, not at all. So I did the math, and I was like, well, it can't be this simple, and it's not. So I went to, and this is when I met Bob Rose, who's the chief meteorologist. He's on Fox 7. He constantly does like news reports. He also works for LCRA, and I'm gonna let you hear an audio file, just kind of discussing some things that he encourages for people to do, and just take a listen.
My advice would be that we have a finite amount of water, basically fresh water, and that we're in a region now that is really rapidly growing. More people are moving here all the time, and so we're still using that same finite amount of water. And then in some years we're not going to be getting that much. We're going to have our drier years and we're going to have wetter years, but we're all going to have to learn how to share this resource. We're all going to have to do our part.
What stuck out to me was when he said that we have a rapidly growing population and a limited amount of water, because tomorrow the lakes will not be full. Let's just be realistic about that. So it brought me to a little bit more research, which was to take a look at our Austin population. Well, in the past about 10, 11 years, our population has increased about 150,000 people. Well, that may seem like normal. I mean, it's not like dramatic graph or anything, but take a look here. Texas is ranked 1 for the fastest growing state. And on here it only says about 530K, but what I just said was Austin itself grew 150,000. But there's plenty of other cities and towns in Texas. So something's happening in Austin where people just want our water. I don't know what's so special about it. I feel like we're getting shorter every day. So with that, I said, well, either there's not enough rain or there's just too many people. Something's got to give. So again, I'm going to let you listen to something Bob mentions, and he's going to talk about a city who's actually gone through the problem with that.
But we're all going to have to learn how to share this resource. We're all going to have to do our part to use the water wisely, and in some cases, conserve, cut back, whether that mean, be taking shorter showers, putting in shower heads that conserve water, or commodes, learning not to, maybe planting different type of grass that doesn't take as much water. All of these kinds of things are things that we're going to all have to be doing in the coming years to make this, source of water, last for all of us, to make sure it's available for everybody, and that we don't run out of water. There are some places in West Texas that feel that they may be running out of water by the end of this year if we don't get a lot of rain, which is, that's a huge deal. And I understand even FEMA has gotten involved now because this is such a serious situation that a city like San Angelo, which has, I think, I forget how many thousand people, maybe like 95 to 100,000 people, you have a city like that's going to run out of water. I mean, that is huge. So, everyone, we have to realize that we live in an area that does go through dry periods, and that there's more and more people now wanting a share of this water, whether it's agriculture or whether it's just the newer people, more and more people moving here. So we've got to learn how to make this water stretch, and one of the big ways to do that is conservation, learning how to conserve this water, be wise with the water, don't waste it, and make it stretch so that everybody can have some of this.
Like he said, this is a time where we have to share. We can't be selfish like we were when we were younger. So I had to give you an understanding of how serious things got last year. We had a series of water restrictions, and these were kind of like broad. A lot of them were just like online. Some of them were for different cities, but I think the main one I noticed in stage 1 was that some commercial properties couldn't water their grass between certain times. And I was like, okay, well, people didn't really freak out about that. They were just like, we just can't water our grass right now. We'll do it tomorrow. Okay, stage 2 got a little bit more serious. They were like limited watering around the city of Austin. Charity car washes. You kind of had to get like some type of like paperwork done for that. A lot of outdoor fountains began to shut off, so everything wasn't looking so pretty anymore. In stage 3, people could only water the grass once a week by hand, so you have to stand out there in the heat and water your grass. Like that's just like punishment. You couldn't really water your car except like after like 5 o'clock, and no pools or public, facilities that were running could really be used. And then finally, stage 4. This is when people open their eyes. They're like, oh my gosh, I can't water my grass at all. Well, they've been working you up to this point, and people like waited to the last minute. So at this point, you were banned from doing just about anything. There were maybe a few pools still open, but that was very rare. So to just put it all together, Bob talked about, finding grass that could like use less water, I guess. But I just kind of went ahead and did a calculation if you didn't water your grass.